Warren Buffett said, "It takes 20 years to build a reputation and 5 minutes to ruin it." What's a real life example of this? Artesian Builds CEO destroyed the entire company by deciding a winner of their raffle wasn't popular enough to get the prize. YouTuber Brooke Houts uploaded a wrong video in which she was abusing her dog. From what I recall, it wasn't a wrong video, but took place more so consistently in the background of her videos, and someone edited a compilation which pretty much did her in. At one point, Ryan Lochte was arguably on the way to becoming as big in the swimming world as Michael Phelps. Then his lies about being robbed at the Olympics torched his reputation and career. He was also pretty stupid, notoriously dumb as a bag of rocks. His interview highlights were great. A reporter asked what defines him, and he responded with Ryan Lochte. A reporter asked what defines him, and he responded with Ryan Lochte. Power move right there. Former Brooklyn/Los Angeles Dodgers baseball player and executive Al Campanis. He had a brief career as a player with the Brooklyn Dodgers, playing only 7 games with them in 1943, but spent a lot of time in the minor leagues and played 1 season in the minors with Jackie Robinson the year before Robinson became the first African American player in the majors. After retiring as a player, he became a scout and moved up in the organization to become the general manager of the Dodgers in 1968. On April 6, 1987, Campanis was invited to appear on the TV show Nightline to be interviewed by Ted Koppel about Jackie Robinson, as April 15th would be the 40th anniversary of Jackie Robinson's first game in the majors, and they were good friends until Robinson's death in 1972. Koppel asked Campanis about why there were so few black managers and no black general managers. Campanis answered, "I truly believe that they may not have some of the necessities to be, let's say, a field manager, or, perhaps, a general manager." When pressed later in the interview by Koppel, he said, "Why are black men or black people not good swimmers? Because they don't have the buoyancy," and also saying that the black race certainly are short on individuals with strong decision-making capabilities. He was fired from the Dodgers less than 2 days later and never worked in baseball again, passing away in 1998. Talk about being short on decision-making capability. On the Gold Coast in Australia, the theme park Dreamworld lost all its reputation after 4 people died in an accident. I didn't remember hearing about this, so I looked into it. Tragic. 3 of the 4 people killed were in the same family, brother/sister/brother's boyfriend. Then, several years later, the sister's husband seems to have committed suicide by intentionally entering floodwaters. https://www.kidspot.com AU/news/Dreamworld ride tragedy grows victims partner missing/news story/3C3974D47078 F5412D90B67 bar 9728 9F AMP and NK equals CF00 165 72 F94 FD 94994 C28 DDF 451 C5 1655 60 38 22. Yep. 2 of them were basically caught in a conveyor belt and ripped apart. That X Factor judge who told a contestant wearing a suit that he was trying to copy her husband Lomfeo. I think Natalia Kills was her name. LMAO, she acts like her husband invented wearing a suit. //Yao2 B/Y1R_LR63 Oh my god. She just lays into him for having the gall to wear a suit with a fairly standard haircut. I love when the host comes out and he's dressed almost exactly the same with a very similar haircut. Like that guy that complained about an article saying that all hipsters looked the same. He claimed they had used his photo without permission. It turned into a whole big thing. Yeah, it wasn't him, and it proved the article right. Had a teacher in high school that everyone loved. He always helped kids who were being bullied. Fully sat down with us and tried to mediate any conflict in groups as well. No one had a bad thing to say about him. One day a news story breaks that a teacher was caught filming up girls' skirts at the mall. Next day our favorite teacher had taken a few personal days. Everyone defended him, saying it was only a coincidence that he was gone. We knew it was him when they started talking to girls from our school. They found footage of up underage girls' skirts on his work laptop. 99% were students. He was only caught because he attempted to try it in public and was seen by a security guard and tried to flush the evidence down the toilet. Destroyed his career, family and life. Kevin Spacey went from acclaimed actor to rapist overnight. I declare myself gay. Hey, I just wanted to let you know you can't just say the word "gay" and expect anything to happen. I didn't say it. I declared it. Apostrophe. Gerald Ratner. At one time, Ratners were a nationwide chain of jewelry shops in the UK. They were known as an affordable jewelry shop. In 1991 he was a guest at the Institute of Directors and made a speech where he called the stuff sold by his shops total crap. A popular range of earrings was described as being cheaper than a prawn sandwich and compounded it by saying the prawn sandwich would last longer. Shares in the company dropped like a stone, and he was fired by the majority company shareholders. They just rebranded as Signet and are one of the world's largest jewelers. It badly hurt the stock at the time, but it was very temporary. Jard, Zales, Piercing Pagoda, and a few Canadian specific stores. All one company. You will shop at Omni Global Megacorp, and you will like it. Here consumer, we will print different logos for your aesthetic. Come forth and consume. Had a supervisor who decided to get blitzed on morphine and alcohol before writing a racist, incomprehensible, unprofessional email and sending it to every subordinate. Every single person turned against him, and he was gone from his job really quickly after that, and he was tenured and everything happened in an instant. I worked at a little startup that started to get big, so we hired a CFO. The night before his first day of work was a holiday party. He came to the party, perved on all the female employees, and was fired before his first day of work. Exciting day. Reminds me of high school. I was running cross country as a team towards the end of the summer. We were running on the shoulder of a highway when a car flew past us and nearly clipped a couple of us. I did what any teenager would do. I flipped him the bird. All of a sudden the car stops in the middle of the highway and makes a U-turn. I thought for sure I was going to get murdered. Instead, I find out that I just flipped off my high school English teacher. To this day I think I'm the first and only kid in that school to be suspended from school before the school year ever started. Edit. Fixed autocorrect. Shabba Ranks. He was genuinely being described as the new Bob Marley. Then he appeared on The Word and stated that the punishment for homosexuality should be crucifixion. You can almost see the exact moment his career ended. This is the interview on YouTube for anyone wondering. https://yahoo.b/8wq_oxts. It's easy to say we'd have reacted the same way, but massive credit to Mark Lammer for instantly calling him out on it so angrily. I've got other things to do. I'll be out shooting bigots. Probably love it. There was a PC building company earlier this year that disqualified a prize winner because the company owner thought the winner's social media presence was too weak. Not fake, mind you, just not popular enough to be worth sponsoring. Artesian builds right. Yes. So that's what happened lol. One of my streamer buddies got a contract with them and then it quickly went away. I wasn't going to ask what happened though lol. Goddamn. Turns out the West Coast team, who also owned the company, was staffed entirely by tax dodging dumbasses. Bought a PC from them a while back and had a few issues, but the folks I worked with, I think the East Coast wing, did a good job eventually figuring out what was wrong and doing it at no cost to myself. A shame. For some reason though, I keep getting court filings from their lawyers on their bankruptcy proceedings, which is weird because I paid up straight cash with them and they didn't owe me anything either. I was just reading a story about how a police officer with a perfect career ruined everything by buying donuts and scanning a barcode for a carrot to make it cheaper. Lost his job for that. Real thing apparently. The UK cop paid 7 pence, 9 cents for a £75, $50 box of donuts. Stealing donuts is the most stereotypical corrupt cop crime. We've had a bit of an odd recent history of famous people stealing donuts. Manchester United's goalkeeper, earning millions of pounds a year, just walked into a Tesco, picked up a box of Krispy Kremes, and walked out without paying. He claimed that he didn't know how it worked, but the dude is from Spain. He should know how shops work. Edit. I did not remember correctly. Me, my cousin and a friend from Spain went to the shop. We were hungry and took the donuts. We were going to buy more things. I realized I didn't have my wallet, so I went out to the car to get it. Nothing more. They thought that I was leaving without paying, so I tried to explain to them, but my English is still not very good, and we were there for a while. In the end a Spanish girl arrived, and we understood each other, and in the end they ended up apologizing to us. They made a big thing out of nothing, but I took the whole thing as something funny. He ate a donut as he walked round the shop, then realized he left his wallet in the car. So he went out to get it, and security stopped him. He had only recently moved from Spain and his English wasn't good, so he had some trouble explaining that. Millionaire footballer steals donut is a better headline for the hysterical masses though. A former boss in the army did it. He was son of a general, airborne ranger, and had a family right out of Stepford Wives. He was the perfect soldier and family man, until one day it was found out he was banging an interpreter he met in Iraq. He hid this for a number of years, but it was eventually discovered that he was flying her all around Europe on US Air Force planes in order to keep her clothes and keep it a secret from his wife. The army found out, and he was forced into retirement and had to pay several $100,000 to cover the cost of the misappropriated aircraft. The divorce proceedings were quite comical as well. Made the military newspapers and everything. 173rd. Cole Johnson. Gary Glitter taking his computer to get fixed at PC World and being outed as a nonce. I worked in a PC repair shop for a while. Anytime we had a computer with something foul on it, we would just quietly call the police and hand them the PC when they got there. It happened way more times than I ever expected it would. Please don't look in the folder named child porn on my desktop. Ain't worth s lol. I'm not going to go hunting for it. But if it pops up on your desktop it's kinda unavoidable. Wholesome note, my sister was a sysadmin at a high school for many years. The school issued each student with a laptop and they'd be sent to her for fixing if anything went wrong. One seemingly brutal tough guy of a kid had a mystery folder on his laptop. Scary music. Scary music. Loud aggressive music. Several layers down until the root layer was found to contain the complete works of Celine Dion with a certified number of plays per track indicating that he hadn't listened to any of the stuff his peers enjoyed. He just wanted his heart to go on. This was an unexpected place to find a wholesome story. You're doing good work. Lawnmower Seri Live. I was really expecting it to be a story about CP. We had a beloved band instructor at our high school. He worked there 4 years and everyone thought he was a great guy. He went to a band camp car wash fundraiser and decided to jerk off to the girls washing his car while he was in it. In the matter of a few moments his life was ruined. Edit. The fact that so many people are saying if it was this or that incident in their hometown is really sad. It looks like this disgusting behavior is way more common than I imagined. We had a band teacher at my high school that even the non-band kids loved. He got caught F an 18-year-old student by my cousin and was forced to resign. A year or two later my cousin got caught F the new band teacher and now they are married. Edit. My cousin was a student during both instances. The new band teacher got fired and is a registered sex offender because she wasn't of age. They're married now. Well, that took a wild turn. The worst part is he's homeschooled. Haven't seen Lance Armstrong's name yet. Scientists studied his body for years to find the cause of his incredible performance, just to have him openly admit to using steroids. Lemon called it out for years and everyone said he was just being grumpy. He made the very real point you can look at the wattage everyone was putting out and there were clear steps in that chart where drugs came into the picture. Lot more than that. Lemon simply responded to a question about Lance winning the tour with something like, if he isn't doping, he is the greatest cyclist ever. What happened? Armstrong went out of his way to try and ruin Lemond. He got Trek Bicycle to stop doing the Lemond line of bicycles. That's about no joke. $20 million. He tried to start rumors that Greg doped and had a drug and alcohol problem. He threatened him and his wife over the phone and was recorded doing so. He even made the Tour de France disinvite him to the Legends dinner they hold every year. He made Greg a pariah simply because he wouldn't kiss his fucking and back up his bullshit. Fuck Lance Armstrong. Jard from Subway started his career with a mild cholesterol problem, ended his career because he has a child molesterol problem. I always liked he spent his whole life trying to get into smaller pants. Apostrophe. Probably a bit too late, but I haven't heard anyone mention Arthur Andersen yet. It was one of the big 5, now big 4, accounting firms that had a high reputation up until its involvement in the Enron scandal came to light. If you work at any major or minor US-based public corporation, it is very likely that one of the big 4 accounting firms audits the quarterly and annual books and is very big business. These firms have hundreds of thousands of employees worldwide. I'll link the Wikipedia article below, but the gist is Arthur Andersen was the firm responsible for auditing Enron's financial statements, and when the extent of their fraud became public knowledge, Arthur Andersen lost all credibility virtually overnight. What ultimately did them in, though, was that they were found guilty of obstruction of justice for destroying documents related to the Enron investigation, which is a federal felony. This meant they could no longer legally service publicly traded companies and had to lay off nearly 98% of its staff. Pretty crazy. I had no idea that there was a big 5 until I went down a Wikipedia black hole the other day. I'd always heard it referred to as the big 4. Wiki for reference, https://n/m wikipedia.org/wiki/Arthur_Andersen. Nelson Rockefeller was governor of New York before serving as vice president under Gerald Ford. He was found dead at his secret townhome. His wife wasn't there, but his girlfriend was. She was 49 years younger than him. Rockefeller's law states, "Never do anything you wouldn't be caught dead doing." Apostrophe. Was his reputation ruined though? I've never heard of anyone ripping into Old Rocky before. Well, it was certainly career-ending. Jim Marshall, one of the greatest defensive linemen in NFL football history. To quote Vikings.com, a valued member of Minnesota's Purple People Eaters defensive line, Marshall holds numerous NFL records that include the most seasons played by a defensive player, 20, along with Junior Seau and Darrell Green. Most consecutive games by a defensive player, 282. Most consecutive starts by a defensive player, 270. And most career fumble recoveries, 30. Marshall, who was still a starter at age 42, helped the Vikings win 3 NFC titles along with the NFL championship in 1969. However, one day, in one game, Jim Marshall had a quick lapse in judgment, and now almost every NFL fan remembers Jim Marshall for one mistake he made. He picked up a fumble and ran the wrong way. Now this is the only thing anyone remembers this great NFL player for. https://yahoo b/x3 // t equals 113 https://yahoo b/x3 i7gov5ck t equals 113. The funniest thing is that the Vikings still won that game. He was just booming. Former CIA Director and Gen. 4-star David Petraeus enjoyed a lauded 1974 to 2011 military career. 2012, less than a year into his appointment to the CIA, an extramarital affair with the author of his biography Paula Broadwell was discovered by the FBI, and ultimately the Director of National Intelligence recommended he resign, but subsequently pleading guilty, after his resignation, to unauthorized removal and retention of classified information which may or may not have been shared with his biographer. Jimmy Snider. He was a well-known football commentator on CBS for 12 years, until he said on the air that the practice of coerced breeding during slavery had made modern black athletes superior. His remarks are astonishing to read today. The black is a better athlete to begin with, because he's been bred to be that way, because of his high thighs and big thighs that goes up into his back, and they can jump higher and run faster because of their bigger thighs. and he's bred to be the better athlete because this goes back all the way to the Civil War when, during the slave trading, the slave owner would breed his big black to his big woman so that he could have a big black kid. See, that's where it all started. I wish I was a fly on the wall when the seer of CBS saw this happening on live TV while he was munching crisps edit, chips for the Americans, and also me as a Dutch blob. A pizza delivery guy was belittled out of tip by rude local car dealership employees. They went really off on one, treating him badly, and threatened to get the pizza delivery guy sacked. The incident was caught on camera, and the internet went out for revenge. The car dealership was review bombed, and I think one of the colleagues were fired. It was caught on the dealership's camera. Those idiots posted it. Esteemed New Yorker writer Jeffrey Toobin decimated his reputation in a few minutes when he exposed himself during a professional Zoom meeting. https://www.thiguardian.com/media/2020/nov/11/ Jeffrey Toobin fired New Yorker Zoom call. He made all other men in the world make sure they have taped over the camera though. James Franco after his porn classes came to light. Wait, what? It came out that under the guise of his own acting school in Hollywood, he coerced young women into sex with the promise of getting them roles in movies. Ah, that makes more sense. Thank you. Porn classes lol. Joe Paterno went overnight from one of the most respected coaches in all of sports and a hero at Penn State for his fundraising efforts to an known enabler of one of the most infamous pedophiles ever. And then he died a few months after being fired. Billy Squier. His Rock Me Tonight video destroyed his rep as a rock star and his sales, and he's been mocked ever since. I just looked up the video. It's pretty bad, but the song is really catchy. Kind of bullshit that the video tanked his career when other artists from that period released much worse videos. Mick Jagger with Dancing in the Street. Have you ever seen the remix video for that? Supposed to be the way David Bowie and Mick Jagger sounded dancing without the backing track. Hilarious. And I think Billy Squier would have a much easier time these days, or even 5 years after the Rock Me Tonight video, because there was much less stigma to being gay, or even non-traditional. So many of his songs were straight up bangin', and They Sail Only as the Night is tied with Barracuda for best Zeppelin song not done by Zeppelin. That Flat Earth documentary where they try so hard the entire time, and then in the last 5 minutes they do the measurement with a laser, and realize the earth isn't flat. Edit, I said radar when I meant laser. Close bracket. It's so clear the documentary crew knows these people are whacked, and try their best to restrain editing the documentary like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm until the very end. There's that one shot where the two leads are in the NASA museum lolling about how this piece of equipment is broken and proves NASA is incompetent, and the camera pans to the very obvious start button they are both missing. Real office stuff. Man, I haven't watched this because frankly I'm at a point in my life where conspiracy theories pee me off, but this sounds like it might be worth a watch.